your website's your storefront. And if you're not representing well, if you're not positioned well, people are going to choose other companies over you.
I mean, that's just human nature, right? We all humans need to feel meaning and value in their lives, to be happy, to feel joy. Most humans need that sort of like human connection to
Right.
feel those types of things.
How are you showing up online? Is it engaging? And let's look at your competition, and are they more engaging than you, or are you more engaging than them?
Hello, and welcome to Amber Energy, the podcast, where we cover business topics of entrepreneurship and everything in between. Today, we have guest Taylor Rubart with Flannel Media. Hello,
Very good to be
Taylor.
here. Hello,
Yay!
how are you?
So exciting. It is Friday Eve, and Taylor is the owner of Flannel Media. They do video production, story scripting, or script writing, production, and marketing. Actually, they do a little bit of marketing as well, strategy. And so, Taylor, why don't you take it away and introduce a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so I first got into video production in ninth grade, and took a video production class, and had been doing that for a while. And the basketball coach came to me, and he was from the high school, and I was at the junior high, and he said, I've got 40 hours of game footage for you to go through, and I'll pay you $200 to edit it into a highlight reel. And I was like, oh my gosh, $200! Like, that's amazing! You can get paid for this. So yeah, that was my very first introduction to video production. And then from there, it's just been doing corporate clients. I've done weddings and done soccer highlight reels. And Amber, we were talking about this when I got to visit you a few weeks ago. We were talking about how we first met, and I actually filmed your wedding. What was that 8 years ago now?
Yeah, September of 2015 was when we got married, and you were our videographer.
Yeah, that's right.
I still watch it and get teary-eyed every year.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Testament to my work.
There you go. I make my husband and I, I make my husband, not that he doesn't like care. Of course he wants to, but
Yeah.
we watch it every year for our anniversary, and it's
Nice.
like right near and dear to my heart.
Yes. That's great.
So thank you for doing such an amazing job for us. It'll be something that we treasure for
Yeah.
decades to come.
Absolutely. Yeah. So from there, it just went to right now where I'm at, I would say, is more so helping companies with brand strategy, with how they want to be positioned, and then using video to better position them in the marketplace. One of the things I always say is perception is reality. And so when you can better position a company, they're perceived differently and they get different opportunities. Different people want to work there, better people want to work there, they get better clients. Yeah, so it's all about how do we understand what the company's about, take their uniqueness, and then show that in video.
Precisely. Yeah. Video is king or queen these days. I mean, that's why YouTube and TikTok are also successful right now. And that's why, Instagram and Facebook have sort of taken some of those, pages out of those books and kind of gone to more stories and reels and various things because, humans connect with video far better than just images.
Right. And I think it's fundamental. You look at storytelling's been around for thousands and thousands of years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the mediums have of course changed, but at the end of the day, it's storytelling, and that's what humans are attracted to. They tell stories. That's how we make meaning in our lives.
Yeah.
I often compare it to, you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off, and you can either think, oh, that person's an asshole, or you can think maybe they are late to a meeting and they've applied to a job and they really want this job, or maybe their wife is in the back seat and she's giving birth, and he's on the way to the hospital. And so we interpret the world through stories. And so I think when you get to help people tell their story, it's pretty fulfilling work.
Well, I think that's interesting is that that's just a whole empathy idea. Like, don't just get mad at the situation or at the person.
Right.
You have no idea, like putting yourself in their shoes. So that's a whole different level of like human empathy, right? That you kind of let into of having that human empathy on people and giving them sort of the benefit of the doubt in an awful, not so great situation. But that's how you communicate good stories too, is that sort of like humanity, that human empathy through storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're constantly telling stories whether or not we realize it. You go throughout your day and you just think about how many times am I telling a story to myself? And you realize just the importance and the it's almost like that the fish swims up and to the other fish and he's like, "Hey boys, how's the water?" And they turn to each other and they're like, "What's water?" And
I'm
so we're
going
just
on,
we're
I'm
just
breathing
surrounded by
here.
story all the time.
Well, I think it's just interesting the human progression, right? So like obviously humans have always told stories, whether it be legends or whether it
Right.
be folklore, or whether it be about Greek gods to the Roman empires to, Native Americans, Asian cultures. It doesn't matter what culture, it doesn't matter what
Yeah.
fertile crust you are from, you know, South America to Africa to Antarctica and everywhere in between, humans have told stories since the dawn of time.
Right.
And I think that's fascinating because then there was, then went from storytelling and then it went to the printing press, right? And then that was a really cool revolution because then we could share stories through the printing press. And then it was like a revolution when we had the radio and then we could like share stories through the radio. And that was a huge revolution, obviously. And then now it's like, now then there was the TV and what? Now we can see the
Yeah.
stories and how cool of a revolution that was. And now we're at a whole new level of social media, the dawn of social media. And now we've got, YouTube and then, social media channels with video. And so now we have a whole different way of sharing stories. And so it's actually just sort of interesting to me to sort of see that like evolution that
Right.
is, storytelling, book writing, or wall scribing to, printing press and beyond, right? So the evolution of sharing of storytelling. And it's interesting. I don't know what the next one will be, but it's sort of an interesting way of where we are now, or
Yeah.
evolution of storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, tell me a little bit of like, I don't know, give me like a fun high of your week. Do you have something fun to share?
Yeah, so met with one of my clients, Cornerstone General Contractors, and we are working on some internal marketing for them right now. So we're doing an internal marketing piece. They've got their 20th year anniversary coming up, and we're creating really a video to highlight here are all of the different accomplishments that we have, for lack of a better word, accomplished, and taking a look at not only the people in the field that are actually, doing the swinging of hammers and
Hmm.
more technical work than that, but
No,
also the
of course.
people
Yeah.
that are in the mothership that are making all of that work possible. And so everything from highlighting, proposals sent to estimates sent to DEI initiatives, really just highlighting and showing and honoring the work that people are doing because it's meaningful work. They're building mostly K through 12 schools, really, community centered buildings. And when you think about that, that's where we do so much of our lives is in these buildings. And so, yeah, it's really neat to be able to honor people in that way. So that's what we're working on right now.
That's really, really cool. Yeah, it definitely takes a village, right? Like all persons are needed to make a company successful. Everything from the person throwing the hammer all the way, to the, project manager, account manager, supervisor, to the owner and board of directors and above, right? So it takes HR, it takes finances, it takes accounts payable, it takes a lot to run a business, as we know. But then also, like you said, like that work that they're doing, whether it be a school or a, company or other, like it's all about the work too. So I think that's really, really cool. So what kind of marketing bits are you doing for them?
So basically, we are telling the story of the past 20 years, and so giving people. So they're a great company. Most people that work there will finish out their careers there. So a lot
Oh
of people have
man.
been there for 10, 15 years and have really seen it go from a small family business to now they're one of the largest school builders in Washington State. And so really telling this evolution of what they've done over the last 20 years, how they got there, and then also setting a vision for the future. I think one of the thing we were talking about story earlier, one of the things people I think is fundamental to people is they need meaning in their life. Everybody needs a sense of meaning. Everybody wants to be a part of a bigger story. And so that's one of the things we're doing from a strategic standpoint is helping people see themselves as you are, critical in this story. And so not only saying here's where we've been, but also here's where we're going in the future and here's what's possible with the team that we've assembled. So yeah, that's really what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that is really, really cool. I can't wait to see. this, like, not the script, but like I can't wait to see that launch. Will it
Yeah.
be mostly video, or will it be sort of like a different kind of launch strategy more than that,
Yeah, all video.
all video strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I think that's a really, I mean, that's just human nature, right? We all humans need to feel meaning and value in their lives to be happy, to feel joy. Most humans need that sort of like human connection to
Right.
feel those types of things. So that's a really cool thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. A high from my week. A high from my week. Oh, we kicked off a new refresh branding project with a local maritime design firm out of the Greater Seattle area. I
Oh,
cannot
good.
speak whom they are, but I'm excited that we will be commencing some brand development, messaging, and brand identity work
Nice.
with a company. They've been in business for 40 years and are ready for a little modernization. So I'm stoked. I just did they're an employee owned company. And so I actually did a like all up hands open book management meeting kind of presentation to the entire company. I think it was yesterday. What day is
Wow,
today?
great.
Thursday. So I did it actually on Tuesday, I think. So very, very cool that we launching into a new project with this firm, and we're super stoked to be starting that. Actually working with Ashley on it with Composure Digital.
Oh, great.
So she'll be helping out with some of the brand messaging framework and getting that alignment to happen.
Great. So when you go into a company like that, what are you doing? How do you kick off that engagement? I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your process.
Oh, sure. So, in this case, the actually the business development person reached out to me. They found me on the
Okay.
Google Webs. I think she had mentioned that she found me actually through like a top 10 list somewhere in the world. I'm actually kind of curious now as to which one it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, she got my information from the Google searches. I'm looking for firms in the area. I'm still must be registered somewhere in the state of Washington as a woman-owned business.
Hmm.
So I'm also got my women-owned business certificate. And so she found me that way and really fell in love with my videos. Thank you. And she fell in love with my process, my logo process, my brand identity process. So she took a look at my portfolio, took a look at my process, took a look at my videos, and she was instantly engaged with wanting to work with me. So she didn't even email me. She right away picked up the phone and called me. So her and I had a really
Well,
great
that's what you want.
conversation. What?
That's what you want right there. That's
Oh yeah,
awesome.
right there. Bam. So she called me and I'm like, oh, this is the number. I don't know who the heck this is. This is a, 206 number
Yeah.
from Washington. I presumed the area code that, whatever. I was like, but it's also election season, so it could be a telemarketer. So
Right.
I don't know. So anyways, I picked up the phone. Good thing I did. Stephanie called me and we talked about, what they are, who they are, what they're doing. They've been in business a long time. There's sort of that old guard, new guard thing happening with how those people talk about themselves, their process, their services, and sort of there's some misalignments on how they are and what they are. So with that, the company was looking for just a refresh. They need to refresh their branding, they need to refresh their logo, they kind of want to enter into some other markets. And so they feel that the time is now to do that. And so from there, we had a really great conversation as to like how I operate my process, why people work with me, what we do, why we do it, how long I've been in business, a little bit about myself and history. And then she's like, that sounds really great. These are sort of the projects that I need that we have right now scoped out. So she asked me, for all these different bits, I need some brand messaging. I need a logo. I need a brand identity, and we'll probably need a website, and we'll need some trade show stuff. And I was like, okay, well, give me a timeline. When's your ideal deadline? Normally, clients, pick a conference or they pick some kind of launch date, right? There's always a work back schedule that they're working from. I was like, so she was like, yeah, there's a big conference in December, beginning of December. We'd love to have everything done and ready to rumble by this launch day. I was like, all right, sweet. So that gives me my work back schedule. So I asked for the work back schedule, sort of loose timeline of deadline. And then from there, I was like, all right, great. Well, with all this information, I can, write an estimate. So then I went back and wrote my estimate custom tailored to them and what their needs were. And actually we did three rounds of estimate rights, because then she read it, presented it to the operations team, and then was like, okay, well, what if we could have her do a company meeting? So then they asked me to add a line item for a company meeting. And then, well, what if we did like a company-wide employee, so our employee-owned company could do a survey, because she put together a survey for us. So then I added a line item for that. So at the end of the day, we finally got the estimate the way of all the checkbox. And then the last thing was like, oh, we need some display ads, because when we launch, you have to, if you build it, they won't come. You have to build it and tell someone. So then they're like, oh, we need maybe some display ads and some other bits. Can you add that to the estimate too? So of course, why certainly I'll add those line items as investment slots for you to choose from. So then we went through 3 rounds of like updating the estimate to get it to a warm and fuzzy place for them, where they just were like click, 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 a la carte style investments, and signed and dated it, and away we go. So that was a pretty, like, probably was over 2 or 3 weeks to kind of get back and forth between her and the operations team to kind of, get warm and fuzzy with signing and dating and invest on the check boxes for the investment. And then from there, it was, okay, sweet, awesome. I will send out an invoice. Here's my W-9. Send it to accounts payable and her. Who else do I should send it to? Here's my invoice. Here's my discovery questionnaires. To complete the discovery questionnaires, we'll schedule a kickoff meeting and the company presentation, and we'll get started. So now we've kind of created our work back schedule at least through June. And right now the survey should be going out this week. And I had my presentation, like I said, on Tuesday. And we'll start kickoffs probably for the brand messaging and the brand logo, probably first or second week of June.
Great.
So that's kind of like how that process went. It was
Yeah.
a pretty smooth process. She already knew, mostly she's like, oh, I just loved your personality and I loved your work and your logo. And you happen to also have a lot of great local brands on your website that I noticed. I have the Benaroya Research Institute, for example, that she noticed right away, Brighton Jones. So she really noticed some like big local brands that are in town. And so she's like, oh, well, I mean, if you work with those guys, you must be really more awesome than everybody else. So anyway, so she was like really stoked about seeing those brands locally. And like my video, like my work, they're an engineering sort of focused firm. And so she liked that I had really clear case studies of my process and how I operate. Because being an engineer, that's what they care about, is sort of the process and procedures around why it costs what it costs. And so the operations team really also found that valuable. And so that's how I did a sort of a quick sell on that one. That wasn't a lot of wooing, actually.
Yeah.
My portfolio, and I guess sort of like obviously the brands that I had in my portfolio were enough to kind of seal the deal, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a fun thing this week. I don't know.
Yeah. Very cool.
Presenting to those folks was really fun. Getting their company survey prepared was also fun. And so we await how they answer their discovery questionnaire from the ops team and how the company employees answer the, survey questions. So we will be digesting a lot here.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a really great baseline from their employees and their ops teams to then really do a fleshed out, brand messaging strategy. And also for me, the visual side of things, like, because words inspire creativity. They inspire sometimes my sketches. So sometimes I'll do word games or I'll do whatever to help inspire, like, okay, it's about this. This is what the business is about, and this is what they do, and this is who they are. And sometimes words really inspire my sketches. And so it's going to be good. I'm really excited about this work. I'm really excited about this process. As a business owner over here at Amber Design, I'm really stoked because I might have solidified, in the next 6 months worth of payments with the new payment plan that I kind of put in place. With this, it was like 25% upon contract completion, 25% after round 2 completion of either or the brand messaging or logo work, get a payment, and then 50% upon completion. So I was kind of really stoked about kind of how that payment plan terms and conditions were as well. So it's like, okay, sweet. I'm kind of set up at least for the next 4 to 5 months, now through we hope to be done by November for their December conference. So that was also kind of like, okay, sweet. So from now until, I guess it'd be October, I know I'm going to make X. So as a business owner, I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Trying to short up some funds for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that felt pretty good to nail as a business owner. We'll be calling you soon about the website. Because as you know, if I'm going to design the website, I need content. Like I can design one heck of a great website, but if I don't have really great videography, if I don't have really great copywriting, images, photography, a strategy for page flows, sales funnels, calls to actions, if I don't have a really great, marketing strategy for them, I mean, their website will be dead on arrival and their marketing will be dead on arrival. So that's
Yeah.
why
I
I
think
kind of pull in my creative co-op. I call you, I call Ashley, I call Brian Hardy. I call my peeps that have their different disciplines that are, that creative co-op that is, okay, I need a videographer, I need a copywriter, I need a developer, I need, socialistics. I need Jason with the marketing strategy. I need paid AI. I need Thrive Advertising with Robin. So I need all these people to be to make my clients successful, right? Because like I kind of say in my lane, I'm really damn good graphic designer and I'm really good at business consultations and I'm really good with branding and marketing strategy consultations, but like I'm not good at videography. I'm not good at copywriting. I mean, I can kind of get you the gist of wordsmithing, but I'm not a wordsmith and I do not know coding. I will stay far, far away from WordPress and Shopify, but I know people that will get their job done and we're all vetted and I know they're awesome business owners and I know they will all do good by this client. And so that's kind of like, you and I have known each other, like I said, now for like almost 8 years. And it's turned from sort of like, yes, the wedding. And then it was my first video with, between you and I. And then it was
right.
some bits with Brighton Jones and some bits with another client that you had. And then
Yeah.
Haven. And then, so we've kind of done some, kind of co-partnering a little bit throughout the
Yeah.
way. And then I did my second video last April with you
Right.
because it's kind of like a practice what you preach. Like I'm going to be in the business of creativity that is branding and marketing. Well, damn it, I better practice what I preach, and I
Yeah.
better
Probably.
have a really good about video. I better have a really good what to expect video. That is branding and marketing, and it better be gosh darn good because I cannot be the cobbler with poor shoes. I cannot be the dentist with bad teeth. So, with all that said, that's why I'll be, calling you to help us with, that videography and bonus points. They're just in Seattle, so it wouldn't be too hard for
Yeah.
you to come down and help them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for
It's
thinking.
really good to have a Rolodex.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I feel like I have a long Rolodex of like vendors.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay,
So
I need this person.
one of the things I've started to talk to my clients about is this survey from Forrester Research, and it cites this statistic that 80% of the buyer's journey is already completed by the time they pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, your example with your client really illustrates that, right? They probably already made the decision to buy before she picked up the phone and called you. And it also applies to them, right? Where their marketing, their branding, their video, it needs to be on point because people are going to make buying decisions before they ever speak to a salesperson or or a consultant or whoever it is in that serves that function. And so that's been one of the things I've been talking to my clients about is how are you showing up online? Is it engaging? And let's look at your competition, and are they more engaging than you, or are you more engaging than them? Are you showing off your people better than they are? Are you showing your skills? Are you making it easier for people to understand? Because yeah, people are busy, and if you're not helping to educate the buyer, that they're making their decision, and it might not be with your firm.
Yeah, it's interesting that people make choices to purchase a service or product through a very traditional sales funnel, and it's been tried and true. It's like, what problem do you solve?
Right.
Why do you solve it? How do you solve it? Why is it unique and special? You need to if you can't answer these questions right away to prospects, what is the product? How's it going to make your life better, improve your life, make it better, right? So that's what problem you solve. What makes you unique and special than everybody else out there doing it, right?
Yeah.
So why you versus the competition? Are there any, proof, right? So do you have any certifications? Do you have an education in it? Do you have, whatever, proof points or education in it that makes you superior than your competition, and then tell me like what to expect when working with you. And then finally kind of following up of like different qualifiers, whether it be like, oh yeah, you do this or you've done that, or different qualifiers for them. And then, hey, that product is super rad. That product or service, yeah, it's super rad. Don't believe me? Ask my clients. Here's some reviews. Here's some, portfolio pieces. Here's,
Video
whatever.
testimonials.
Video testimonials. Ding, ding, ding. Which maybe I need some of those from you. So video testimonies. And then, oh yeah, don't believe them. Oh, you believe them now? Sweet. Sign on the dotted line. Let's get started. Right. So it's like that traditional thing. They need to be educated and feel warm and fuzzy. They have to be able to like, yeah, I want to hire this person. You answer a lot. You said 80% of the questions are like, okay, what do they do? Why do they do it? What services do the offices? What are their capabilities? Okay, check, 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 check. Okay, now I think I'm actually ready to pick up the phone and call them and inquire more specifically about my project or my services.
Right. And they've pretty much decided by the time they pick up the phone. And so,
yeah,
if your online presence isn't
that person
dialed,
was ready to rumble as soon as she picked up the phone. She was like ready to rumble. She's like, I already know everything about you. I've already been to your website. I already know what you do, how you do it, and why. And I was like, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Glad my website is working, because I have to have my website, because I'm in the industry. It better be on lock point. If I'm going to tell others how to do it, I better have the sort of like the same thing going on over here.
Yeah, and that's where we can help clients, right? Where we can help them with their online presence, because I mean, I can think of a few exceptions, but besides those, your website's your storefront, and if you're not representing well, if you're not positioned well, yeah, your people are going to choose other companies over you.
They're going to bounce.
It's about that positioning. It's about, you want them to pick up the phone and pretty much already want to work with you by the time they pick up the phone.
I think the bounce rate's like what people stay. We were because of social media now, our attention spans are like nothing. So it's pretty much if they don't look reputable within like 10 seconds or less, 5 seconds or less, might even be less, 3 seconds or less. You can't be reputable. As soon as someone comes to your website, they bounce. Bye. Like, oh, you don't look professional enough. Oh, you don't solve my problem. Oh, okay, I'm out. Like, I'll go find somebody else. Like, people will bounce really quick. They don't have high attention spans. So you really do have to nail it really quick.
Yeah.
Captivate them, engage them really, really quick, and make it easy for them to like calls to actions. Like, what do you want people to do? Well, do you want them to start the conversation, or do you want them to buy something, or do you want them to download something? Like, what do you want them to do? Like, be quick hitting, must do. And I think between, really great visuals, really great video, I think that'll help with that buyer's journey.
I agree.
Well, there you go. Do you concur? What is that from? Is that from like, do you concur? It's he pretends to be, go catch me if you can.
Yeah.
With Leonardo DiCaprio and like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And he's like, he pretends to be like the pilot, and then he pretends to be the doctor, and that's where he's like, do you concur? Well, yes, I do concur. Wow. Okay, I just pulled a rabbit out of a hat on that random reference. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well, you had to know we were going to go down some side streets in this conversation.
I mean, I feel like we could banter for a while between you and I. We've kind of had like personal turn business turn friendship now over the course of 8 years. For example, for our listeners, Taylor and his friends stayed at our house a couple weeks ago on his way from Bellingham to Moab. Because here at my house, we are about halfway between, we're in the greater Boise area. So halfway between Moab and Bellingham is Boise. And so we posted them up on the way through going to and from. So that was super fun to have you and your friends stay in our guest room between the Murphy bed and cots. It was quite a setup. But I think it worked out rather great.
Yeah, we got some what were those, orange flavored cinnamon rolls?
Yeah, they're called, Nolan or Caden calls them, just orange rolls.
Orange rolls.
Yeah, Pillsbury, I don't know, Pop-'em can orange rolls.
Yep.
And sausages. I mean, it's just this easy slam dunk with the kids on a morning. So yeah, you stayed both Friday nights, which was super fun.
Yeah.
Having brewskis and drinks and hanging out. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna have to fly into Bellingham at some point and stay with you guys, you and Allison.
Yeah. You always have a room with us.
So anyways, do you have any other closing thoughts or pitches or big things coming up?
Yeah, right now I'm working on this is very early stages. But
Ooh.
one of the things I'm working on is doing some education around hiring. I think hiring it's getting more and more competitive, especially in construction. I've been doing, a fair amount of work within the construction industry, and just realizing, you look at the amount of people that are going into the trades, that's falling off. In the next decade, 40% of the workforce in construction is going to retire. You look at population trends, and I think it grew 0.12% in the US. So population's not growing. And so one of the things I've been thinking about is helping companies recruit with really dialed video content for hiring. And
Hmm.
so for some companies it's going to be trying to attract business, but right now in construction it's about how do you attract the right people. So stay tuned for a presentation
Yeah.
from
Well,
Taylor.
I could talk about that. That's interesting to me. Well, we'll take it offline. I think
Yeah,
we've
yeah, yeah.
probably tapped out our bandwidth for people's attention span. So
Yes, yes.
thank you so much for today. I really, really appreciate your time and the conversation from a business perspective and a personal note. So I really appreciate you today. Thank you. This episode of Amber Energy, the podcast. Stay tuned for next time.
Thanks for having me.